everyone. This is Boricua Binks, and welcome back to Lake of Voices. In the last episode, we had reached the middle point of this path, where after a lot of stress and being separated from the guide, we made it somehow to the middle island. So then we spent some time with a little bit with Bay Malay, but mostly with Lou. And we found out some stuff about him, but honestly, still, I'm not really like 100% invested in him. He's just kind of strange. I don't know. I'm just not connecting to him emotionally. I'm still sad about Margaret. Um, and I just really preferred her and Bemele. But we'll see. Maybe Lou will prove himself worthy in the end, because right now he's just a little cowardly and weak and very like, oh, woe is me kind of guy. Yeah, I don't know. He's just feeling sorry for himself. Anyway, now it is morning, so that means we're gonna have to. I mean, not morning. Sunset. So now we're gonna have to go back out onto the rest of the path. The sky turns orange as sunset comes upon us. As the color seems to drain from the world, being consumed by the fog, the guide makes his appearance. Lou avoids eye contact with him.
It's almost time.
Stupid guide. I'm curious what you're like during your route, because you're such a douche every time else. I nod and feel myself grow tense. We truly are about to return to those bridges. All of us wait in an uncomfortable silence until night falls. We silently stand as one, forming a vigil of sorts. Our remaining lanterns illuminate the dark, prepared for tonight's journey. And yet, the way forward does not appear. The bridges haven't risen from the depths. Oh yeah, that's what happened before. We got screwed over because of that too. That sucks. I glance to my side. The guy doesn't look at all pleased. The corners of his mouth have a harsh bend, I think, as he briefly loses himself to heavy thoughts.
We must go to the shore.
He doesn't offer an explanation for why. Instead, he goes on without us. I follow after the guide, my forehead creasing with swelling worry. Behind me, I hear Bemele and Lou's unsure footsteps. The four of us press onto the shore. The dark waters lap at the edges of the sand, and, as expected, the maze is still hidden beneath the surface. The guide grips his staff tighter still, his knuckles turning ghostly white. He sucks in a breath of air like he is about to speak, but he hesitates. We all stare at him, expectantly. After a moment more, the guide is fed up with waiting.
The bridges are late. If they don't arrive as soon as darkness falls, there's no telling exactly how long it will be before they do.
Oh boy. Bemele's face immediately sours, and he isn't able to stay silent about his feelings.
So we're going to waste our time standing idly by. There's hardly enough time to make the trip as it is.
Lou doesn't say anything, opting to stare at the ground with an obscured expression.
Time is by far the least of our worries. On the bridges we are constantly moving, which makes it easier to avoid the prowlers. However, this island does not offer that luxury. We're trapped here.
Oof. My body goes rigid as his words sink in.
More importantly, the bridges are raised above the waters. Nixie have difficulties pulling themselves up onto the bridges. The soft sloping of the shore will allow far more prowlers to drag themselves towards us. Not all will be as dangerous as the ones we've encountered thus far. However, we could easily be overwhelmed.
A pit forms deep in my stomach. I stare at him aghast. I had no idea the situation was that dire. I glance from the waterline to the trees, What I'm looking for, I don't know. A sign of what might be to come, perhaps.
I wonder if those fires had anything to do with this.
Oh, yeah. Bemile's words are biting as he wonders aloud. The guide answers Bemile firmly, wanting to put an end to his speculation.
No. Whatever magic controlling the bridges is inconsistent. Humans haven't found a way to impact it. We can only do temporary physical damage to the boards.
Which is very interesting. Like, I want to hear more lore about this game and this world. Bemile is still displeased.
Should we return to our original spot? We would have more protection there.
The guide closes his eyes and suddenly looks very worn down.
Staying in the center of the island is the safest option. However, there's the risk that we may not be able to reach the bridges when they do rise. Prowlers could have taken full control of the shore by then. Remaining here with our lanterns will ensure the prowlers cannot move freely.
My brows involuntarily knit together. I don't like the sound of taking additional risks in an area that is already so dangerous, but our options are thin.
I will not be kept on this island for another day, so the shore is where I will be. You may wait at the edge of the forest, or even at the center of the island if you fear being attacked. If the prowlers come between us and you fail to make it to the bridges, I will leave you behind.
Bemile spits hatefully under his breath.
Of course you would.
Yep. True, generosity is not something I would expect from the guide, but that is not the conversation we need to have at this moment. The guide has made his decision, and we must make ours.
If you were staying by the shore, perhaps I could be positioned somewhat further back from you, and then the others could stay further back still. That would keep us safer, without having any major gaps of darkness between us and the shore. You could start a fire, seeing as neither of you have a lantern.
Good suggestion, Kika.
Fine.
Settled on the matter, the three of us begin to move away from the guide. He pays little attention to us, instead silently fixing his eyes on the water. I take my place in the middle of the shore, while Bemile and Lou hover closer to the island's core on the line between dirt and sand. After getting a sense of where they are, I turn my gaze ahead. At first, I think I'm being fooled by the fog. There are several white dots playing along the edges of the water. Here they come! Is it our lover, Dillert? If y'all don't know who Dillert is, you should watch, God, what is this? Was it the first or second stream? It was really funny. Dark globes begin to surface, and I see them for what they are. Eyes. So many white, dribbling eyes, gleaming sharply against their pitch-black bodies as the Nixie bob up and down. They surface and disappear in a loop, each time more sets of eyes, and closer, surveying us more intently. Then they cackle. The sound is atrocious, gurgling, then turning high-pitched as they seem to take full stock of us. The lights in their eyes somehow seem brighter as the first of the Nixie dig their claws into the sand and begin dragging themselves upon the shore. I plant my feet firmer. With the threat rising, I decide to take one last moment to check on the others. Bemile is tending to a small flame. However, I don't see Lou with him. Damn it, Lou! Immediately alarmed, I raise my voice to call for him.
Lou? I'm okay.
A bit of rustling comes from above. What the? I'm at a loss over what's happening before I realize that Lou is speaking from up a tree. Before I can ask what he is doing, Lou continues.
I figured there's not much of a chance any Nixie will get a hold of me here. They won't climb.
Maybe he has a point. It's safer up there? Maybe? I don't know. His voice is lighthearted with an easy confidence. With a slight shake of his head, Bemile chuckles at Lou.
Let's see if you'll get down from there as smoothly as you climbed up.
That's true.
Don't worry about me.
What are you, a monkey? He still sounds fully self-assured. I smile to myself. I'd like to believe that Lou will truly be safe from those predatory creatures this way. With the two of them doing as well as they can be, I cautiously back up to my original position. I return my full focus to the shore. As we feared, this is becoming a pressing situation. More prowlers rose from the waters while my attention was on those two. They've surrounded the guide on both sides. Here we go. Have to decide if I'm going to save this mofo. The only way to gain distance from them would be to delve further into the island. Yet the guide shows no signs of giving up his position. He remains where he is, resolving to keep all the monsters near him in his sight. I grow more unnerved the longer I watch this. The guide seems impervious to the dangers of Sinlos. This is the first case where I can't tell whether he will continue to be fine as always or not. It's a distressing notion. As they creep ever closer, I can't stay silent any longer.
Your safety is most important. Consider retreating.
He doesn't face me, but replies.
I cannot do that. Nixie recognized signs of weakness. Backing away will only increase the odds of them attacking.
I grip my lantern tighter as I swallow hard. What can I do? As if to answer my own question, a thought whispers in my mind, and I look down at the lantern in my hand. I could throw it, as long as I don't let it go too far down the shore. It doesn't seem plausible that a Nixie could take it. But if I do lose the lantern, then... I think we have to save him. Otherwise, we can't get home. I nod firmly to myself, set on the decision. I've seen the guide perform the move right in front of me. I know it isn't an impossible feat. Now, something has to be done. Okay, so I have a save before that, and I'll have a save after that, just in case. I inch my way over to the most advanced group of Nixie. They drift slowly as they attempt to get behind the guide. I'm of no concern to them, at least for the time being. The guide spots me, and we make eye contact for a moment. He doesn't say anything and abruptly fixes his gaze elsewhere. It gives me the impression that he's aware of what I'm planning on doing. He's ignoring me because he doesn't want the Nixie to recognize a coming threat. I steady my arms and assume a strong stance. I stop for a heartbeat to take a deep breath. Then I jump forward a small way and toss my lantern towards the group of Nixie on the guide's right side. They're all caught completely off guard, practically wheezing as they scatter and dive back into the depths below. None even attempt to steal the lantern. That is a great relief. The guide seizes this moment to swing his staff at the group of Nixie on his left. The light edging close to them, combined with the general chaos, disturbs the creatures enough to frighten them. The left group joins the right in retreat. The guide observes the waterline, making certain that they have all crawled back into the water, and then releases a small sigh. He walks over to retrieve my lantern off the sand where it landed, keeping his eyes fixed steadily behind him. Tentatively, I take a few steps towards him. He extends his arm forward, offering my lantern back to me. I've never gotten so close to the guide before. He hasn't allowed it. I don't know. My mind thought of something weird, and I don't even know what I was thinking, but I don't know why I was expecting her to say something like, oh, he's far more beautiful than I thought. And I was gonna be like, bleh. I was gonna be like, no, we ain't on his route yet. I don't have to endure this, do I? Oh dear. See? No, stop it, game. No, I'm not interested in him, okay? Being in his presence this way feels unclear. I don't have the words to describe what it turns inside of me. His eyes are expectant, impatient, and I waste no more time. I move to accept it, but I flinch before I can grasp it.
What's wrong?
His face hardens, scrutinizing the unexpected reaction. I banish whatever expression was on my face and take hold of what's mine.
It is nothing.
What was that, then? He lets it go, though does not make any attempt to leave. I don't believe it is because he's worried about leaving me in darkness. He still suspects something is wrong. The guide watches closely as I set the lantern aflame once more. Its light gently washes over me, and I smile at the sight. This tool I hold is one of the exceedingly few comforts one can have on Sinlos. I do not wish to part with it again. He is still here, and I begin to worry the guide intends to admonish me for what I've done. I may have let emotion show on my face again, because he starts to speak.
Keeping a hold of your light is crucial. However, if you took no risk, your only way across could have been lost. It wasn't an empty self-sacrifice.
That's his way of saying thank you for saving my ass.
In your position, neither option was correct. Neither was wrong.
Our enigmatic lead nods, and upon finishing up his thought, he returns to his original place. I stare, flabbergasted, at the guide's back. By chance I was put in a circumstance that allowed our values to align, but never would I have expected him to acknowledge that I made an acceptable decision. Yeah, I remember when, was it on our first route, I think? We let him get injured because we didn't want to risk our light. So he got his leg hurt or something, and then Bemele had to carry him, and that was a hassle, but that was also kind of funny. It was interesting. I stopped myself from getting further distracted. Instead, I glanced down at my light and realized the glow looks different. Oh boy, here's the problem. I wince. There is a large crack wickedly curving up the back. I'm thankful that it still works. Still, I fear that it will not hold out until the morning. I look forlornly at the fragile glass surrounding the simple flame. In a way, this event has forcefully reminded me of how fragile my own life is. One slip could mean the end of everything. Regardless, nothing can be done presently, and we've got enough to worry about as it is. I cannot let this consume me. We will continue to resist against this lake. After an untold period of time, the water begins to stir. There's an unusual gurgling, a sound I never thought I would be this relieved to hear. Slowly, creakily, the bridges make their nightly appearance. Sinlos is an overwhelmingly cruel environment. This island had felt like a safe haven such a short time ago, but that had been twisted to the point where I am grateful for a chance to return to the maze, and we may not even reach that. More Nixie are breaching the water and wrenching themselves onto the sand. The guide signals to all of us.
We have to leave!
Thanks to his position on the shore, the guide is able to board the bridges without confrontation. For the rest of us, however, the Nixie begin to crowd the opening. It appears they want to get on themselves. They're eager to cross as well, then. I mean, I wonder what keeps them from coming onto the actual mainland? You know? What makes them stay only in the water? Is it that they really can't survive without the water for long? I'm just curious. We have desperately little time before we'll be cut off from the guide. I look to my lantern. Will this light alone be enough to cause them to disperse? Bemele appears at my side, dragging Lou's arm in one hand and his sword in his other. What I remember, I think it was the last round? I think Margaret was smart enough to create a torch, and that helped them a lot. But I think right now, because we don't have Margaret, maybe we'll be in trouble. Oh boy. Lou yanks himself free of Bemele's grasp and doesn't seem very happy at the treatment.
Being taken into the water is the biggest threat with these creatures. While we're on the shore, we can keep enough distance to avoid it. I can help push them back.
I appreciate his confidence, but I'm still not certain his help will be worth the risk. 2 is more intimidating than just 1, and there are many prowlers lurking. However, physical wounds don't hurt them in the same way they do people. What a shame that your swords are kind of useless. I could still use my lantern alone. That has been the one weapon we've wielded against them thus far. My mind goes over every point I can think of on a loop, but there isn't that kind of time to spare. I have to give an answer. I only need the light? I don't know. Bemele frowns hard at me. He looks at me, seeming like he desperately wants to disagree. Lou appears doubtful. I shake my head at them.
There's too much risk for you to come with me. I'm going now.
I don't know. I don't know if that was the right choice. Oof, I turn on my heels towards the Nixie. There's even more of them now. They drag themselves pitifully along the ground, reaching out their hands in our direction like beggars. Unfortunately, nothing can be done to help these creatures. As I approach, they curl their bodies from the light of my lantern. None of them move to retreat, however. I'm kind of worried with that choice right there. I'm not sure if I should have let time run out. I don't know. Eyeing them warily, I quickly jump forwards in the hope of startling them. A few hiss and flail, pulling themselves into the water. One responds a different way. It returns the aggression by lashing out and knocks my light free. Oh no, that was a bad choice. Oh shoot, I think we're gonna die. The lantern falls to the ground and blinks out. I gasp. Oh shoot, I'm dead, y'all. Rip. Before I can turn around, one of them pounces on my back, forcing me to the sand as well. I frantically call out to the others.
Run! Get to the bridges!
Many more pile on. I dig my fingers in the loose granules. It puts up no resistance as they begin to drag me closer to the shore. There is shouting, but I'm not able to make out what the words are. As I feel the thick water begin to lap against my legs, I know in my soul that I will never escape. This is the end. Whoa, it just went straight to... Okay. Rip. Okay. Okay, let's fight then.
If you're going to fight, then I am as well. I will attach the lantern to my belt for now.
This might be one that I should have waited, but we'll see. Bemele grins and grips his sword firmly.
I'm ready for it.
Okay.
Lou, stay behind. This needs to be done by us alone.
He doesn't verbally reply. However, the severity of our situation isn't lost on him. He falls back and waits for our signal. I latch the lantern to my leather belt and unsheathe my sword. We approach the battle as the two of us have done in the past. The skin of the monsters folds against their bones as they shrink back from my light. Bemele takes a wide swing at one nearby, which forces it back even further. I follow in suit, striking at the beasts near to me. Each arc of our swords opens the way a little more. Okay. I was just worried, man. I wanted to protect Bemele by not having him fight with me, but maybe this will work? I listen closely and feel confident that Lou hasn't drifted. I pray my instincts are right. It's far too dangerous to look away, even momentarily, with the Nixie so close. Her efforts to bear fruit as the path to the bridges clears in front of my eyes. We waste not one moment sprinting towards the bridges. Okay, looks like that was the right choice. With the others near my side, I amble back into the maze. We don't stop until there is a considerable distance between us and the shore. It is there that we encounter the guide. Upon seeing his figure, I hide a sigh of relief. We haven't been left behind. I think he felt a little like, okay, I already lost one customer. I might as well not abandon these people. Our arrival doesn't change the guide's empty expression. He doesn't say or do anything, instead allowing all of us to catch our breath. Bemele starts to laugh incredulously through uneven breaths.
Such recklessness. I can hardly believe it worked.
Yeah, I thought it was really reckless, but yeah, that was the right choice. Alrighty. Lou looks as though his legs might fall out from underneath him.
Normally, I wouldn't ever say anyone on these bridges are lucky. But we are.
We treasure the moment of triumph for a little more before the guide ends his silence.
We need to start walking. We've already lost much time as it is.
I quickly straighten myself out and mull over our current situation. We start to consider how we are going to travel now that we only have 2 lanterns.
I can stay ahead in between the guide's light and yours. I will be fine there.
At that, I become fraught with worry. I look over at Bemele, concern rioting through my body as I wonder how he'll fare being so far away from a light source. Why can't he just walk with the guide?
I think it would be fine if we all stayed together.
Bemele and I confer with our eyes before silently agreeing with one another. We nod.
Okay, we'll do that then. Thank you.
That's if the guide is okay with that. He didn't say anything. Other than having a bit of a crowd as opposed to an entirely straight line, our journey moves ahead as it did the night before. The silent night creeps along as we carefully move through the thick fog, making certain not to bump into one another. Then my lantern blinks. It fizzles out. Uh-oh. The 3 of us gasp simultaneously, and I hold my breath like time will stop with my breathing. To my great relief, the light flutters back on. The air I'd been anxiously holding in releases as a sigh.
What's going on?
The guide has halted, but does not bother to turn around as he asks the question.
It was nothing.
I watch as he shifts his head back to look at us. He's like, really? I heard you all gasping. The stare he gives is probing and deeply unnerving. He doesn't believe me. I return his gaze, my expression blank. We remain locked in this moment. I can feel his patience with me slipping away. He chooses not to spend any longer waiting for an answer that will not come. The guide faces his back towards us once more. He acts without a word, but I know he isn't satisfied. Our small group shares anxiety-ridden looks as the guide moves ahead. I look down at my lantern. The crack seems larger than ever. I feel as though I'm cracking with it. There's nothing I could do to fix it should it go out for good.
We need to keep going. We shouldn't speak of this.
I can feel that they're apprehensive over this situation, and undoubtedly curious as to how it happened in the first place. Did they not see when she threw the lantern? I knew they were further back, but still. However, this is not the time. I don't want to draw attention to this for fear of the guide catching on. The chattering of the Nixie bubbles up out of the darkness and I gulp harshly. The thought crosses my mind that they too have noticed what just transpired. Uh-oh. We walk for quite a bit longer. The voices whispering amongst each other has died down, but the squishing and clicking of prowlers has replaced them. It's difficult to trace the exact origin of the sound. All I know is that it's far too close for comfort. The guide stops abruptly, bringing us to an awkward halt. Luckily, there are no impacts between the 3 of us.
Stay where you are.
Oh? Why? What's going on? My eyes are drawn to the guide. He's making small movements, cautiously pressing his foot into the boards in front of him at different spots. Could something be wrong with the bridge itself? My theory is proven correct almost immediately.
The boards ahead are unstable. They may break when stepped on.
Oof.
Is there another path?
This is our path. Move slowly and do not have two people on the same board at a time. I will cross first. When I find a stable section, I will inform you. Then you will follow my lead.
He doesn't allow us time to answer before darting forward. His steps are light, but beneath him the wood creaks loudly.
Why are the bridges this way? They can be burned into ash and will still rise the next nightfall. And yet this spot is less stable than the rest. It is strange.
Very strange.
There likely isn't a reason for it. It's just another piece of madness.
Lou doesn't say anything on the topic, merely staring ahead. The guide breaks his cautious steps, testing the security of the bridge.
Where I am now is solid. You only need to reach this position.
We'll be right there.
I face the others. And we will continue on in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this. And until next time, have a nice day. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And also make sure to ring the bell for notifications for new episodes. You can follow me on Twitch, where I stream every week. And also, follow me on Twitter for updates. Until next time, have a nice day. Adios!